All right, I'm here with Tom, the founder of Almost Human Digital. Tom, how you doing today?
Good, thanks. Thanks for having me on, Andrew.
Yeah. Hey, before we start recording, you told me an awesome story. I'm excited to dive more into it. But before we get started, do you want to just give a quick introduction of yourself for those that may not know you?
Yeah, sure. So I'm a developer and designer on the south coast of Australia. It's basically been working in different companies doing UI and UX. And recently, over the past couple of years, I've jumped more into kind of the startup space and been working on various products. And yeah, had the opportunity to scale up a couple and sell them on acquire.com. And that's kind of allowed me to pivot into my own businesses.
Right on. Well, tell me about the two products you mentioned a little bit before we started recording. How'd you start them? I know the answer there, but I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Andrew. So yeah, I was really fortunate. There's someone who's over in the States now, Hayden Blazel, who's a well-known founder over here. He's serial founder of products, and I think he's now working for Vercel after he was working on his latest project. But yeah, I was helping him QA in my own time a bit, just a couple of his products there, and he said he was going to retire them and gave me the opportunity to take them on, which was really nice. So Text.run was one of them, and waitlist.email was another one. So, yeah, I was able to take those on, provide support, and then, yeah, waitlist.email, I was able to kind of spend some more time on to grow and scale before selling through Acquire.
Nice. So let's focus on maybe one at a time. It's pretty awesome that you were able to take two different products, scale them up, and then sell both of them on Acquire. Let's start with Waitlist. You take over the project. What did you find interesting about it, and did you immediately see some easy growth levers that you can pull on? And then what were those?
Yeah, I think that's the one where I put my time in because when I was first looking at taking over the projects, I saw that it was organically ranking really high with SEO. So I saw that, that was probably, going to work really well. And also that, it had quite a good user base and the use case there was awesome. So enabling, early stage founders or people about to kick off on product hunt to quickly spin up an email list that they can drop into their website and start collecting people on board.
Nice. What did you do with the existing users? Did you talk to them? Did you learn anything from them? Or did you decide a new customer would be the way to go? Like, how did you learn from the people already using the app?
Yeah, sure. So I did reach out to some of them, asking, what features they specifically use. One way to encourage people to respond as well is so to take a step back a bit. Initially, the had two pricing tiers. One was free, and then there was a paid pricing tier, which was a monthly revenue, which enabled some AI features as well as adding custom metadata, so additional fields in collecting the data initially rather than just kind of emails and names. And I kind of had a look there and I've been following a lot of founders on Twitter that are the solopreneurs like Peter Levels and, Mark Lubion and kind of eliminated that pre-pricing tier initially, which helped. And then based on that, also reached out to kind of users and offered them free pro tier for life and also to try and get them to reach out. And that way I kind of learned what different features would be best and was able to kind of kickstart off continuing the growth there.
Nice. And then with text as well, what was the growth levers that you saw in that one? And then also, what did text do, just from a high level?
Yeah. So with Text.run, again, it had the two same tiers. I didn't change anything there. Basically, it allowed users to kind of create a personal website with, links to socials and things. And it kind of displays in the format of like a text chat message system. So really simple website to spin up.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't actually. So with that, I just kind of maintained support and helped people out when needed. I didn't have the time to grow that one before I sold it. It was more of a maintenance project, but I definitely did have some thoughts on how it could grow out that, I put forward when I was able to sell it on Acquire.
Nice. Have you ever thought about maybe buying SaaS companies? Like, I feel like you could run this playbook with other products. Have you ever thought of that?
Yeah, that's definitely on the cards. So, yeah, so right now I'm kind of scaling up my services studio and then also building some more micro SaaSes on the side. But the end game for me is I'm pretty inspired by Andrew Wilkinson, so hoping to have a portfolio of businesses there and get some more capital to start flipping the switch. So I'm actually acquiring through acquire rather than selling.
Nice. If you only could pick like three different growth levers, what do you think those would be? Like when you look at these applications, what are like the first areas that you look at if you're seeing if it's a good app for you to grow?
Yeah, sure. I think one thing that worked really well was just throwing it out organically in index sites, especially when it's a micro SaaS, and sharing it on socials and Reddit. They had been launched on Product Hunt previously, but I redid that as well. So I think just getting eyes on the product is probably the first growth lever to try and pull, and that way, you know, if the product's something people want, you'll organically get those customers to start coming through. So that's probably the first thing I'd do. Second, I guess would be to, yeah, I think it's a long game. Luckily for me, because it was an established project, SEO was great. It was ranking really highly organically with kind of, minimal blog and content there. The keywords were just optimized really well. So I think that was bringing in quite a lot of traffic also, which helped. I think that's a really strong play if you can do it, but that's long term. And obviously, if you're trying to hit growth quickly, it's not always the best, but it's a good strategy to always keep in mind and keep running. And then I guess the third thing is what you mentioned first is making sure you're communicating with your users, getting their feedback on what's working, what's not, and what features they kind of want you to build out.
Nice. And I bet if you nail all that too, you could probably play around with pricing as well. If there's a free tier, you can get rid of that. Maybe raise prices by 10% or 20%, depending on where they're at. And from there, you could grow apps pretty quick, I think.
Yeah, and that's what I was able to do. So I removed the free tier for $0 a month. And then the paid tier was $5 a month, and I switched it up to I think it was about I think it was $5 a month at one point. I did quite a lot of experimentation with the pricing. I'm just trying to remember where it landed at, but it was about five US or so for the entry, and then yeah, I was able to raise them quite a bit on the second one. And then at one point, I had a lifetime offer as well running, which was good. Grabbed some users and revenue through that.
Nice. What's your thoughts on lifetime plans for products like this initially? I've heard both cases where downside is obviously you got to support the person lifetime. The other hand is you get, an influx of revenue to support other things, maybe paid ads or something like that. What was like your thought process for having a lifetime plan, and do you regret it? Would you do it again?
I would do it again. It didn't bring in a ton of revenue. So I had two strategies actually. One of them is I was offering it when I did my product hunt relaunch. So that brought a bit of revenue in. And then I did partner with Deal Fuel, which was like an alternative to AppSumo. One of my growth plans afterwards was to go on with AppSumo, but I didn't get around to that before I sold it, which I think at the state for me, because it was, solo founder supporting this app, my my plan was I just wanted an influx of revenue at the time. So I think if that's your goal to enable you to grow, it's a good idea. One way to mitigate risk is to make sure that, maybe maybe you create a specific tier for that lifetime plan, and maybe it covers it, you know, upgrades for a year, and then it's, ongoing features that separates it. So I think as long as you're upfront about it and don't try and hide it, there's different ways you can mitigate risk there. But I think if if it's kind of a make or break, or you want that really fast user base or revenue growth, then it's a really good lever to engage. But obviously, it's not for everyone, and it doesn't always play out the way you want, and it can lead to massive influx of having to support users with feature requests or any minor issues and things, and it can also create a lot of upfront churn. I think there's quite a high percentage of people who will test out the product and immediately refund as well.
Yeah, that's good advice. So it sounds like the apps were growing, they were doing well. Why'd you decide to sell both of them?
Yeah, so they're both doing well, and bringing in some passive income for me, which was nice. But I kind of just wanted to, well, both of them for me were kind of like a learning process, which was really great. Because they weren't my products initially, I wanted to kind of go off and grow my own thing. So growing my agency, Almost Human Digital, I wanted to kind of put some more time and money into that. So I was able to kind of split them both go through the learning process of meeting other founders and, what it's like to sell a business and SaaS, and also get that capital to help kind of inject into future endeavors.
Nice. How was the process on Acquire? What did the first week look like? How many buyers reached out? How many offers did you get? Let's start there.
Yep. So I'll split it out into both of them. So the Text.run is the one I sold first. So that was one I was just maintaining. I think it was pretty similar with both projects, really. I sold it at quite a low price because at the time it wasn't turning any profit, but it had proven profit in the past when it had been created. And yeah, I mean, I had multiple buyers within the first couple of days, first week. I'd say the story is the same with both products I sold. It was, yeah, immediately having people reaching out, asking questions. And I think, yeah, both times within the space of a week or a couple of weeks, I had a deal where I was kind of moving forward. I didn't have any buyers fall through at either with either product. It was, yeah, really smooth sailing for both of them. So it was going through, listing the product, kind of determining the pricing at what I was happy with and wanted to sell at. And yeah, because they're small projects, there wasn't a huge amount of due diligence, but so it made it really smooth and quick processes in both cases.
Nice. What were some of the learnings going through an acquisition twice? Was it surprising? Was it more difficult than you thought?
It was surprisingly easy. I was assuming it would take months, but yeah, for the most part, it's really easy. There's a couple of bits and pieces that I'm still helping the team that acquired waitlist sort out, but that's fine. It's just just some questions on the back end, which I'm happy fielding. But yeah, I guess it's all there on the site. It's just kind of ticking check boxes, and with the power of AI now, assisting, with making sure that all the exports and everything are correct, and how to make sure handovers through different accounts like Stripe and databases and things are there. It's pretty straightforward.
Nice. What were you using AI for during the process? Like, what is a letter of intent? What's a transition guide? Do you do any of that?
Yeah, so just for the learnings really, and also again because the site's really, it really helps in terms of all the different steps of due diligence and what's recommended. It helped to kind of break down for the smaller deals what's required and what's maybe like not as important. So that kind of helped streamline that process there and help me communicate, I guess, with the founders as well. But also in helping to make sure that, I had a proper process plan in place, because handing over a whole bunch of assets and authentication systems and databases, make sure that that's all done securely and everything's kind of backed up and nothing can kind of go awry in the process.
I think it's great advice. We do it all the time at Acquire. When we have a letter of intent or we have an opinion of our own, but we want another one, you can just upload that in a ChatGPT and say, is there anything concerning here? How would you rate this out of 100? What's a good counter to this offer that I received? Yeah, just a tip there. We use it on a ton of different things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was super helpful just to be like, you know, I think the one thing I was looking for was non-competes as well, to make sure I'm not kind of blocked out for forevermore from certain industries and things like that. So I think, yeah, it's really, really good advice to make sure, just to double check, be a 2-second lawyer to see if there's anything there that could possibly stand out.
Yeah. If you were talking to another founder who was looking to sell, what's some advice you might give them?
I would definitely say the first thing to do would be to check out Acquire. Like, it was truly an amazing experience for me. Like, after hearing, again, I think that's dependent on the size of the business as well. I think it's going to be a different process. Like, I've heard Andrew Wilkinson talk about like huge business acquisitions and things that can be horrible. And I imagine that's the case when you've got boards and multiple people involved and all sorts of different moving pieces. But I think that it's a really great platform and holding your hand. And for me, it was like super easy, super simple. And I've definitely been using it again. And yeah, coincidentally, I was talking to someone advising me on my agency the other day, and they're doing the flip side. They're selling their agency and now acquiring a SaaS product through Acquire to kind of take on as their next project.
Right on. I love to hear it. Great advice. Yeah, definitely check out Acquire. I'm obviously biased.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Tom, this has all been just an awesome story. Awesome to hear. What are you doing? What's next for you? You mentioned it at the beginning, but tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, so I was consulting on the side for my company, which is almost human.digital. So it's an agency basically. It was a UX UI agency previously, but now I've got a CMO on board and we're really helping early stage SaaS founders with that initial growth stage. So I guess it's tried and true for me. It was the experience I was able to get through these projects before selling them through Acquire. And so that's now what I'm focusing on, helping other companies to do.
Right on. Well, Tom, congrats again on the acquisitions. And if people want to hear more about your story, where can they find you online?
Yeah, sure. So I'm at tomulman.com. I'm also on LinkedIn. I'm trying to get more on Twitter these days at Tom Ulman as well. But yeah, just got a few things I'm juggling. But yeah, just on my personal site.
Right on. I'll put that in the show notes. All right, Tom, congrats again on the acquisition. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Awesome. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.